Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program 0.17. At long last I'm able to bring you this video after their download servers going down, and me being unable to download the game for the past 2 days. But here we are, and I love this new menu. Very cool. Now I have my own my own universe, and we are going to create a YouTube universe for all the tutorials and wonderful stuff. It has been optimized, I have learnt, just simply by the fact that there's a lot less lag and it looks better. So to what one would think are opposing are in fact put together and work beautifully, which is wonderful. Now this is almost a part 3 of my designing a planetary lander videos, because we are going to use our planetary lander videos to actually land on a planet. Isn't it wonderful? And right away we can do this. Now let me briefly describe our mission profile, because unfortunately MechJeb has decided it hates my computer and I can't perform all these wonderful docking simulation things that we've been doing for a while now on my channel. So instead of doing all that, we are going to send this lander up to Juna first, which is our Mars-alike kind of thing. First we're going to send that to Juna, and we're going to land it, and it's going to get back into orbit easily. It's easily capable of getting back into Juna orbit. And then we are going to send a different similar ship that is capable of picking up them from orbit and bringing them home. So this would be the command module place thing, and it wouldn't have any lander on top, so it would be more efficient. But for now we are just sending people there, so we don't need to worry about that stage just yet. We'll put our SES unit on here, we'll put our fuel tank on here, we'll put this up to 6, and we'll put some awesome engines around the side, because yes, we have engines now. We have, well, we had engines before, but we have some new engines now. We have thermonuclear propulsion, or is it thermonuclear? Because thermonuclear is fusion. I think this might be fission, I don't know. Whatever the case, it seems to run off of our bog standard hydrogen fuel particularly well, and it's extremely efficient. So it's evident the developers want this engine to be our interplanetary engine, which I have no problems with. We can add a decoupler, we can add 2 more fuel tanks, and our big liquid engine. Now you'll notice that I have 2 liquid engines here. This is my most recent mod, which turns out isn't particularly good, but I thought I would make it because I complained so much about having the gimbaling capabilities. So I got rid of it and I made this mod. We're not actually going to use it because it doesn't work as well as I'd like it to. So let's just stick some decouplers on here, stick some fuel tanks on there. Oh, not on there. We'll stick it on there. There we go. Copy them by holding Alt, click and drag. That's how you copy things. Put it on there, and if we hold shift and click, we can select everything and scroll up to move it up to give us some extra room. See, there, I've answered your questions. Now no one in the comments better ask how I copied and how I moved everything, because I have just told you. I'm going to put some struts on here, and we'll put some struts up here just to be safe. Very easy. And some ones up here. And we can take some struts from the center of these fuel tanks and put them all the way up, I think here. Put a bit of stability on that. And in fact we can actually take them here and cross these over, so we don't get any wobble there. And we can zoom through this fuel tank and scroll down to the bottom to add some extra stability by putting that there and bringing this here. And that's not particularly central. Let's try again, put that there and bringing this there. That's a bit better. Wonderful. So we are pretty much ready to go with this design. No, we're not, because we need to add our new boosters that we got as of version 0.16. I do love these boosters. Let's put them here. Let us get them, and we'll put them on the side. I'm going to use 12. This is probably the biggest rocket I've ever made, so let us hope it works. You know, I actually want them further out, so I'm going to put them there and there. Oop, there we go, that's fine. Right, and we can put in our launch stability enhancers. Nice slot there. Shift, click, and scroll to bring everything a bit further down. And that is our ship. It's actually pretty small, all things considered. Now, staging is really easy to sort out. Basically, just get our 6 engines, which for some reason don't stack as 6, but they are there. Our 6 engines, we'll put them in this stage, and then we'll take their decouplers and move them down into that now basically empty stage. Then we've got the middle engine, then we've got the middle engine's decoupler up here, and then we've got those 6 nuclear engines, and then we have the decoupler up here, and then we have our lander engine, and then new stage we have our 3 parachutes, which work, which I'm very, very happy about. And then we have our decoupler, and then we have our orbital engine. Yes, it shall be so, and we shall call this Onwards. Yes, because we are going to a new planet for the first time, and I am extremely, as the tractor goes by outside, I am extremely happy about that. So, this is me, in the present tense, after recording this video, and here is where Juna needs to be as relative to Kerbin before we can launch. And so, having time warped it into that position, we can launch. And look at this rocket we have here. We can skip into 4 times speed and blast off, and it starts spinning wildly and wobbling and shaking, but it is perfectly fine. It is stable, don't worry. I'm not sure whether, I'm still kind of debating whether to use my non-gimbaling heavy lifting engines. They could reduce the wobbling that we get here, but never mind. Anyway, we have those 6 outer tanks, and then they run out, and then we use the 2 middle tanks with its engine to propel us into an orbit. That's a bit high. We prefer it to be quite a bit lower than that, maybe about 100, but we have that and we're going to work with it. So obviously, first of all, just getting into orbit, because we're not in the perfect position yet to start burning for interplanetary space. So just burn, just burn, just burn, and then when this runs out, we eject it and burn, and we see an explosion, which doesn't seem to have damaged anything, which is quite lucky. But yeah, we carry on burning with this, and we're having to point quite a bit above the horizon, as you can see, because the thrust we're getting from 6 of those engines is remarkably low. But then again, on the bright side, the consumption rate is extremely low as well. So there we are in orbit. Juna is in roughly the correct place, so we just need to time warp round to the opposite side of Kerbin to the sun. Just a bit before we get to the opposite side, actually, to counteract for the fact that we are still moving around the planet. And we can start burning. Ooh, yeah, let's burn to the moon. No, wait, let's not. We really don't want to have an encounter with the moon right now. That might kind of screw us up a little. It might help. It might, you know, it might give us a gravity assist, but I'd rather it stayed out of the equation completely, so, yeah. Just a bit of background information whilst we wait for this to happen. This ship is Onwards Mark II, not the one that you saw me build just before. There was the encounter. It's not the exact same. This one actually has ladders. You might have noticed that from the previous video just then. And also there's a bit been changed. But it's basically the same. So basically we leave Kerbin's sphere of influence, we time warp down to the perigee, and we burn. And we try and hope that we get an encounter with Juna. Because we are roughly at the right space, we should just be able to burn a bit more and get... Yes! and get our encounter. Perfect. Now, at the moment, it's a bit hard to tell where the periapse is, because there's the apoapse is there at the same place. So basically, we'll just warp around, try and get a bit closer. It takes a lot less fuel to do adjustments when you're further away from the point where you are adjusting. That was a weird sentence. But, I mean, we have plenty of fuel. We have loads of fuel and some to spare. So, we warp around till we're about 10 days out and do our adjustments, bringing it down from 42 million to something like 2 million by pointing down towards the sun and burning, and pointing retrograde and burning, and pointing north and burning. All these different burns just to try and get it a bit and a bit and a bit closer. Unfortunately, Ike is in the way. Juna has a moon called Ike, which is actually pretty big compared to Juna. Pretty massive, and that's because it's orbiting so close. Its orbital height is about 2 million. As we see here, it's very close and makes it look very big compared to the actual planet. But anyway, we're going to land on that. We're going to land on that ball of iron, presumably. I mean, Mars is made of a lot of rust, so iron oxide that is. So there's Ike, interfering with our orbit, unfortunately. We're just burning roughly retrograde, trying to, and burning a bit north as well to try and bring it up along the equator. I mean, you know, we have time to change these things, and what actually happens is that we don't end up following this course. Ike actually throws us downwards. And speaking of Ike, here is Ike. Here is Ike. Ike. Oh, come on. I thought it was at this point in the video. Come on. Oh, yeah, we have to avoid it first before looking at it, because we were actually going to crash. But anyway, speaking of Ike... No, that was too early as well. I'm no good at dramatic timings when it's pre-recorded. Anyway, speaking of Ike, here it is. And here is the IVA. There was a quick snapshot of the IVA just there. Something new added, 0.17. Oh, and there goes Ike. But IVAs are amazing, really cool. Being able to see what Bob Kerman can see. It's pretty awesome, actually. I can tell you, I'm loving this update so much. But anyway, we need to get focused on the mission. Right now, we would go off into interplanetary space if we stayed on our course, because even though we are actually in the atmosphere, or at least our trajectory would take us into the atmosphere, as we are about to do now, it's still so thin that it hardly slows us down at all, which is a shame. What it means is that we have to warp to the perigee and then use our nuclear fuel, our nuclear engines inside the atmosphere to slow us down, to make sure we don't leave Juna's sphere of influence, or Juna orbit. And that kind of may slightly irradiate the atmosphere, which isn't a good thing. There we go, burning now. Basically, if there's any life forms on the planet, we may never know, because we might have just killed them all with this nuclear cloud of hydrogen. Or it'll be helium, won't it? It'll be helium. Yeah, I think, well, a nuclear fusion process, hydrogen is the fuel, in a lot of cases deuterium and tritium, which are both heavy forms of hydrogen, and you get a helium ash, which is why the sun will die, because the helium inside it will basically just kind of poison it, I suppose, or it just run out of fuel and you'll be left with loads of helium. And what could happen is that the helium could compress into a helium flash, and this will actually fuse once more and start burning again, but it'll be much smaller and a lot less dense and everything. And then we'll get, is it an oxygen flash from then? Something, then it'll make oxygen, there'll be an oxygen flash, and then eventually you'll have an iron flash. No, you'll have an oxygen flash or something, and you'll end up with an iron core, a solid iron core. That's pretty awesome, thinking that stars could end up as just balls of iron, which we could mine, if you think about it. If you're interested in sci-fi, go read, what was the book? What was the book? It was the Zeely sequence by Stephen Baxter. It was in there. It was called Raft, I think. It was a great book. Really, really good. Anyway, back to the actual video. Yes, you saw all that and going up and down and things, and there's the moon, and there's a new feature which you can warp inside the atmosphere and still control your ship. So it's not on rails, it's actually just processing faster, which is great. That's wonderful. And so I'm thinking, let's burn retrograde. Despite the fact that this is actually the fuel we need to get back into orbit, let's burn it anyway. I'm quite confident at this point, not letting anything on. And let's just see what happens. So I've quick save, and I'm just falling towards the Earth, and I'm going to sneeze. There we go. So yeah, let's just open up the parachutes. There they go, there's parachutes, and oh, crap. Oh, bang. Okay, so that was a simulation. That's always my excuse. I always say to myself, oh, that was just a simulation. And quick load, because obviously quick loading isn't actually possible. But yes, we can click OK, and we can warp faster. So I kind of want to get onto a more ready patch, so I'm burning upwards, which again is a waste of fuel, but never mind. And let's open up the parachutes and return from 4 times speed back to regular time speed. And yes, parachutes are deployed. Those are the drogue chutes, I believe, or drone or something. Drogue, I think it's drogue. And yeah, burn retrograde. I'm probably overdoing this because I know that we can land. We can be falling at 300 meters a second and let them open, and they'll be fine. So there's really no point to actually burn retrograde there, but never mind, slowing down now just due to the atmosphere and to the drogues. And then in a few seconds the drogues will open the full parachutes and everything will be awesome. We can unfurl those landing legs and bang! There they go with the ruffle of the parachutes that we all love. And swinging downwards now, and we're on a flat piece of ground. In other words, known as a flat piece of ground. The sandy, rusty, groundy stuffy. And we're in cinematic mode, because I think it'll be pretty cool to land without any instruments, try and do it by eye. And the fractal landscape can be a bit disconcerting. You can actually see that we are very, very close to the surface. There's our shadow coming in now, there it is. And we have... oh, parachutes have disappeared. Soon we shall have touchdown. Nearly, just taking it slow. Contact light and touchdown. Awesome. So, after 81 days, 13 hours, 59 minutes and 57 seconds locked up in this capsule, Bob Kerman will be able to step out and be the first Kerbal in ever to step onto the surface of an alien world. It's a pretty nice place. Although, to be honest, their green skin is awfully contrasted by the redness, so they probably won't colonise here. This is present day Harvey, by the way. And it is time. It is time, it's time, it's time. What does it look like from out there? Nothing. Apart from the sensors. Actually, no, there aren't even any actual sensors in here, are there? He has basically no idea what it looks like out there. Okay. He climbs down the ladder. This will be one big step for a Kerbal, and a even bigger step for Kerbal kind. Atmosphere is it's actually surprisingly thick. I mean, our Mars has only 1% of the density of Earth's atmosphere, so this is actually a pretty good atmospheric level. What I would like to see is a temperature reading. I would like to know how hard his suit is working to keep him at the right human temp or Kerbal temperature. One thing to test. Do we have RCS thrust enough power? What? That wasn't a sentence. Do we have enough thrust to actually lift off the ground? Just. Oh, we are going to have some fun with this. Haha. I'm liking this planet a lot. But there's not an awful lot to do here at the moment, really. So, look at that sun. It's a lot further away than it should be. In fact, let's actually have a look. Here's where we are. And there is Earth. And there is the sun. Wow. And there is a picture. Surprisingly good picture, actually. So yeah, there's not an awful lot actually to do here. But we can't just get up and leave. We need someone to come rescue us. Oh, we can sprint. Yes, we can sprint on this planet. That is good news. Walking speed. Oop. Clicked on the wrong thing there. Walking speed and sprinting speed. Awesome. What's the gravity? I'm not entirely sure. Or you can jump fairly high compared to Kerbin's gravity. But yeah. Wow, I'm glad this worked. Okay. He can have his fun, but for now we're going to leave him inside the capsule so he doesn't die due to lack of oxygen or whatever. We shall retract this. And actually, no, what? No. We shall keep this open because he is going to be here for a while. He's going to be on here alone for roughly... Well, it took him 82 days to get here, so maybe another 75 he'll be in this capsule or on the surface. And that is part 1 of getting to Juna and back, or whatever I decide to call this video. Now we need to go rescue him. So, if you enjoyed the video, please do like the video. That came out wrong, let me say that again. If you liked the video, please do like the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.